It was early 2025, the dawn of a new year, filled with hope and endless possibilities. Spring was painting the world green. People made plans. Barbecues. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass. Football matches in the park. Laughter echoed as children kicked soccer balls, their faces lit with joy. Kids looked forward to summer holidays. They packed their school bags with excitement, dreaming of adventures. The days felt long and full of promise. Sunshine filtered through the trees, casting a golden glow on everything it touched. Life was, for most, wonderfully ordinary. Families had picnics. Friends met for casual walks and chats. We took it for granted. The hustle and bustle of daily life seemed like it would never change. Coffee shops buzzed with laughter. Friends met over steaming cups, sharing stories and dreams. Music played, friends met, talked about everything. The melodies of life intertwined with conversations, and nothing. Little things, big dreams. Every moment felt significant in its own way. Life was a comfortable rhythm, a predictable beat. Each day flowed seamlessly into the next, like a favorite song you thought would play forever. The soundtrack of our lives, familiar and comforting. The news droned on in the background. Politicians argued, their voices a constant hum. Faraway conflicts flickered on screens, stories of distant lands and struggles. Most of us tuned it out. Just noise, background chatter that rarely pierced our bubble. We thought it would never touch us. Our lives felt insulated, protected from the chaos, wrapped in a blanket of blissful ignorance. We moved through our days, unaware of the storm on the horizon. Then the headlines started to get louder, sharper. The news was no longer just background noise. It demanded attention, breaking through the mundane routines of daily life. The faraway conflicts weren't so far away anymore. They crept into our living rooms, our conversations, our thoughts. Names of cities we barely knew became familiar. Places we had never heard of were now on everyone's lips. Tensions between the big powers, America, Russia. The stakes were high, and the world watched with bated breath. Words like escalation appeared more often, in bold print, on every news channel. The language of conflict became part of our daily lexicon. It was harder to ignore, much harder. The sense of impending change was palpable, almost tangible. The background noise was becoming the main event. People started talking, quietly at first, in hushed tones, over garden fences, in office kitchens. The whispers grew louder. Did you hear? What do you think will happen? Questions filled the air. Uncertainty hung over every conversation. A nervous energy began to ripple through communities. It was as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The comfortable rhythm of life faltered, just a little. A missed beat, a moment of distraction. The normalcy we took for granted was slipping away. A sense of unease settled in. It was the first tremors of a larger quake, a prelude to the storm that was brewing on the horizon. Diplomacy became a battlefield of words. What was once a forum for peaceful negotiation had turned into a war zone of rhetoric and posturing. Harsh accusations flew back and forth, across borders, across oceans. The air was thick with tension, every word a potential spark, each statement more aggressive than the last. Leaders postured, their faces stern, their voices unwavering, as if the louder they spoke, the more right they were. Drew lines in the sand. The world watched. The stakes were higher than ever, and everyone knew it. Gripped by a terrible fascination. The kind that makes you unable to look away, even though you know disaster is imminent. We were spectators at a game where everyone would lose. The tension was palpable, the fear almost tangible. There were no winners here, only degrees of loss. Ultimatums were issued, deadlines set. 24 hours, 48 hours. The clock was ticking, loudly now. Each second felt like an eternity. Each tick a hammer blow against the fragile peace. Hope dwindled. The world held its breath, waiting for the inevitable, replaced by a grim resignation. This was it. The point of no return had been reached. The moment everyone had feared, for generations. The unthinkable was now a stark reality. The unthinkable was becoming reality, right before our very eyes. We were powerless. The world as we knew it was changing forever. Right before our very eyes, we were powerless. The weight of the moment was crushing. Then the sirens began to wail, a sound that would haunt us for generations to come. Section 4. Fire and Ash. The world burns. A flash, brighter than 1,000 suns, blinding, even through closed eyes. Then darkness. A deafening roar followed, a wave of pressure, tearing buildings apart, like paper houses. Glass shattered. Cars flew through the air. The ground shook violently, as if the earth itself was crying out in pain. Life as we knew it ended in that instant. Utterly. Finally. Screams. Everywhere. Then a strange silence. The silence of shock, of devastation. Dust and ash filled the air, choking, burning. The sky turned a sickly orange, then black. Fires raged. Section 5. Whispers in the ruins, humanity's fading echo. Days turned into weeks. The sky remained dark, a perpetual twilight. Cold settled in, a bitter, biting cold. The nuclear winter they had warned about, it was here. Food and clean water became treasures, more valuable than gold. Sickness spread, radiation, starvation, the unseen enemies, claiming more lives, every single day, slowly, mercilessly. The initial shock gave way to a harsh reality. Survival was a daily battle, a desperate struggle. Many gave up, lost in grief, in hopelessness. The weight of what had happened was crushing, the loss of people, of places,